so we're in February.
February.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so February already, thank goodness, the longest January in history.
Happy February, everyone.
Will you be our Valentine?
Yes, please. So, yeah, we really can't wait for you to see our issue this month. As you know, we've been building the website for over a year, and this is our second issue that we're actually putting out. You know, we're really enjoying that process and, you know, looking into things. And usually with a purveyor of good news on our website. But we'd like to talk about a few of the news articles that we've read this month as well.
Yeah. So we're going to kick off with Warn Again, which is a pilot scheme based in Teesside, which is in the UK. Now this is a pilot scheme that is basically the first time that at the end of life use of a garment, they've been able to extract polyester from mixed fabric garments.
Which is phenomenal when you think, when you go into a lot of retailers, a lot of the fabrics are mixed and they can't actually be recycled, which is a major issue for clothing.
Yeah, and when you have a problem, which, you know, worldwide we do with the, you know, how do we deal with end of use of particularly fast fashion, which are quite often mixed fabric compositions. So this basically, if this is a hit, then it's going to be an absolutely fantastic boon to the ethical, sustainable, and to the planet. It's going to be a good thing. And
we just want to send a really massive congratulations to Cindy Rhodes and her team. I was fortunate enough to work in the same office as them when I was interning at Ethical Fashion Forum. So it really pleases me to see this. You know, you just think people that work so hard, and once again, we really want to drive that message home that there's a lot of good being done out there too, and quite often you only read the bad in, you know, the news. So well done, Warn Again.
Yeah,
good
really
luck. Good luck. Yeah. So our next article that we saw was Oxfam, and that brought out a new report, Time to Care, which is really great. And we realise that you probably can't see on this screen any help needed for the next, any help offered for next one, please. But anyway, so this Oxfam report, so take it away, Susan.
It's basically highlighting that the world's billionaires, of which there are 2,120, I believe is the number, could be it's around about that anyway, have more wealth between them than 60% of the population of the poorest areas of the world. This is also equivalent to the top 1% of earners in the world have more wealth than the rest of the world combined. Now that's clearly a massive inequality, which is something that, you know, we want to highlight, and I'm sure that, you know, a lot of people are aware of that. But it's just kind of, if people can harness the collective, you know, the collective thought, because quite often you'll find that it's people with less that tend to do more for people. If big companies or big charitable organisations like Oxfam continue to highlight this inequality, then perhaps it will, you know, encourage government to make better legislation for things like taxes, for things like, you know, instead of giving big business tax breaks, perhaps, you know, thinking about the other way of doing that. You know, there's a lot of things to discuss.
There really are, and a lot of changes need to happen from us as consumers, but also right up to government level, and, you know, of course in the boardroom, essential, which leads us on to a little cheeky one that is very close to my heart as well. Everybody who knows me, knows that this actually really, you know, sets a fire in my stomach, doesn't it? So Leicester, minimum wages. So where are we? You know, now I first found out about, and I was really shocked, as I'm sure you are, when you read articles like The Guardian and workers in the, you know, working on UK brands in fast fashion and getting paid £3 an hour. When I first found out, again, when I was working for, interning for Ethical Fashion Forum, I was really shocked, because I just thought, you know, made in the UK, surely there's those standards, but you know, I've worked for quite a few brands in this area and have had first-hand experience of, you know, people letting me know that actually they weren't being paid minimum wage, and it's a really upsetting situation down there. And great that it's, you know, once again it was brought up in the Environmental Audit Committee last February. But this is where it just goes to show that, you know, we really need government action and support on this.
Also, given by the time, if you're in the UK, by the time you see this video, the Brexit process in the UK will actually have started. As you're aware, you know, or as I guess you'll be aware, a lot of the rights that workers have in the UK are actually because of the European Union, because of directives that we've had to step up to. Now, obviously we don't know what's going to happen, but you know, we can only assume that if loopholes are already in place, when we have legislation that come Brexit, come 11 PM on the 31st, that these things might actually become even worse, if you can believe that it could become worse. I don't mean to, you know, we obviously don't want to be negative and we don't want to sound like all doom and gloom, but we also want to be realistic about highlighting inequality, which is basically what Toc's about. We want to make sure that, you know, inequality, wherever it may be found, is spoken about, and the more it's spoken about and the less it's hidden, the better for everyone.
Yeah, we really need to shine the light on these issues. People need our help. You know, Modern Slavery Act was brought in for a reason, because it's an epidemic, global, and, you know, yeah, we need to highlight it, shine light on it, and really, you know, bring it out and help people at the bottom of the chain. And, you know, anyway, we're not going to get carried away with this, because we're going to do another little video on this within the next couple of weeks. There's a lot to talk about this, and yeah, we're going to be like a dog with a bone on this one. So, leading on to was it another Guardian about Greg's? Yeah, after we actually did a little video on our the vegan role because
yeah, we were early adopters of the
yeah,
vegan sausage roll, as you could probably tell.
And also we really love their new steak bake as
Oh,
well. But,
amazing!
Parker is absent today. He's
Yeah.
gone to Nana's, but
Yeah.
he loved it as well. He was never allowed any, but you know, he would definitely have like a wolf. Anyway, so you know, kind of great news. Greg's to pay workers 7 million bonus after vegan sausage roll success.
Yeah, but
however another follow-on for this.
Downsides to the upside. Now, if a lot of workers, and particularly in places like Greg's, you know, you may find that you've got part-time workers who are also claiming universal credit, which, you know, is there for that reason, for low-paid workers who perhaps can't work full-time for whatever reason. You know, they might have, you know, there's no judgment for it. There shouldn't be any judgment for anybody. It's there as a net for society. However, there's a loophole that was highlighted recently, just after the kind of good news that Greg's were going to pay a dividend to all the workers for being, you know, working so hard and making such a success. That there's in universal credit, there's a loophole that means if somebody has a bonus in their pay packet, that will reduce their universal credit payments, which obviously has a knock-on effect to poverty, has a knock-on effect to, you know, how somebody's day-to-day life lives. Also, it takes a minimum of 10 weeks for any changes in universal credit to be acknowledged. So it's a long-term problem, you know, for something that is seems
Such
so
a
small and
shame,
inconsequential.
you know, like,
the knock-on effects for people living in poverty are actually very serious. So
yeah, it's
yeah,
I mean, there's so many things that baffle us.
There is, but we don't, you know, we don't want to end this on a sour note. So
Definitely not, because issue 2 has got like so many amazing things in it. So you have to.
Yeah, please stop by, come and tell us what you think, and tell us if you want to see anything that we're not talking about. Tell us your favourite ethical products, or even tell us who is being awful in the fields. Just tell us everything, we want to know.
Definitely. And this month we feature, we've been chatting to Sophia Mini and the new website that they've launched, Real Sustainable, which we have featured on our website, so you can read that. Read all about it, thanks to Susan's great writing, and and also visit the website through there, through the links. And we've got to have guides on bedding, maybe next month, not sure on that one. Zero waste, plastic free, ethical t-shirts.
We're going to talk about something that's quite interesting, lending libraries.
Oh,
now,
yes.
not your traditional lending libraries of books. There's again a pilot scheme across the UK. There's only 9 at the moment. If you're based in Scotland, there's only 1, and it's in Edinburgh. But it's lending libraries. So the one in Edinburgh is for tools. So rather than, it's a really good idea. Rather than buying, I don't know what, like a floor sander,
drill,
or hiring it. If you need to borrow it, you can borrow it from there.
Which we love. Gets lots of electricals out of the.
All good, and gets out this get out the end of life chain. So
and we're also looking forward next week to. Catching up with Glasgow City Council at their round table for a sustainability plan to reach their goals for 2025. So lots going on, a really positive new year so far.
So again, February is the month to watch.
Great. Enjoy our issue.
Bye.
Bye. Love to hear from you, by the way.
That was not 3 minutes.
It was 12. And